But obviously, right now in the UK, behind like these riots have existed because people can't see that political solution. They think, oh, it's only going to be violence. Like that's the only way that I can change anything. I totally think they're wrong, but that's the mindset that they've been that they're in now, because you've had 20 plus years, as you said, people constantly voting for migration. Even Blair in 1997, promised to, lower immigration, or certainly wasn't, in favor of opening the doors, as he then eventually did past then. So it is the result. These riots would not have existed if the government had just reduced immigration, cracked down on crime, stopped the grooming gangs that were, in this country for, again, over 20 years. So this is all the fault of the government for sure, and making sure that the people think that they've got no hope. I can't remember who someone said it was the riots, the voice of the unheard, or something along those lines. I think that's pretty accurate to what we're seeing right now on the streets.
I think we have just had Destiny join the call. I need to fool around and adjust the video here, and I'm straight booming because it's been a while since I've used OBS. But feel free to say hello, Destiny, and introduce yourself.
Wow, hi, what's up? I'm a YouTuber that does politics sometimes.
Yeah, everybody has no idea who you are. Yeah. Okay. So, sorry. Actually, just give me... you guys chat. Say hello. I need a moment to figure this out.
Hello. Tech booming.
Do we go over the part yet where the starting of these riots was on a fake news event that spread on X yet, or have we not?
No, that's not why the riots started. We discussed this at the top of the hour. That's completely untrue.
Really?
He wasn't here for that.
Wait, what part of that was untrue?
That the riots were started off by a fake news event on X.
When did the riots start?
So you were actually you were in Southport where it began, right?
I was in Southport exactly when this happened.
So could you answer me this question? Because I saw something about this, don't know if it's true. The guy turned up with a machete and the police managed to arrest him. And presumably he was there to attack the people who were more...
No, so he was arrested with a switchblade, and he was either a white or mixed race guy, but he was on the side of the, on the side of the protesters. Now, I don't believe he was, people said, he was going to attack the vigil. Again, nothing of that side happened. But yeah, he was posting about how awful the Southport attack was on his Instagram on Tuesday. So no, there was no planned machete attack or anything.
Okie dokie. So he's a man arrested with a switch knife because we can't have switch knives in this country.
So wait, okay. Wait. So tell me what part of this I have incorrect. So stabbing happens. Name of the perpetrator can't be released, right? Because of the judge, yeah. And then on X, there's a whole bunch of information posted with a fake name that says he's Muslim.
Yep.
There was a vigil that was held, and then a huge protest happens afterwards outside of a mosque, which is for Muslims.
Right.
You're telling me that these are totally unconnected?
So basically you got the timeline wrong. So, well, not the entire timeline wrong, but there are a few sort of details in there which were pretty key. So his name wasn't released until Thursday or Friday. However, by Tuesday morning, now bear in mind the protest riot happened at 8 p.m., so we've got at least between 8 to 12 hours of this coming out. It was identified that this was fake news. He wasn't Ali something Ali. That he was the son of he was a son of two Rwandan immigrants. So he was a second generation immigrant born in Cardiff. So by that afternoon, and certainly everybody I spoke to at the vigil, people were talking.
Did the first riot happen before this was known?
No, it happened afterwards.
Okay, so after this was made public knowledge, that is the correction. That is when the first violence occurred. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Why did they decide to do the protest outside of a mosque?
The mosque was just the protest wasn't outside the mosque. The protest was near exactly where it happened. The mosque was just on the same street.
You don't think they weren't protesting right outside the Southport Mosque?
No, the protest moved towards it. As I said, I was there. I saw bricks getting thrown at the mosque. But as we were discussing earlier on the show, the protests and the riots happened, and it was then directed to something more than just this stabbing, which is why they didn't, for example,
wait. We're
find
focusing
a
on one thing.
Rwandan community
Sure.
center.
Well, because they didn't. I don't think they knew initially. When was the information released about who the
They did.
person was officially?
So in terms of his surname, that was released. In terms of his actual full name was Thursday or Friday, but the attack happened on Monday, and I certainly knew.
Wait. If his full name was released
midday on
Thursday or
Tuesday.
Friday, and you knew midday
Yeah,
on
but he was identified as being a son of Rwandan immigrants
when?
by
I
Tuesday
even
morning.
did
Tuesday
an initial
morning.
report about this. Same thing. Said it was Rwandan immigrants. I saw Callum. I saw Connor Tomlinson. Everyone on my feed
Yep.
was making it very clear and making posts about.
This was
is
well
a
cleared.
Link me.
before the
Wait.
July
Link me.
protest.
Link me.
confused by
Link
how
me
you
the
portray
earliest.
this.
Well, you're confused because you haven't read anything outside of your media sphere. Because literally every single person
Well,
saw
no,
this
but
news
your
explode
claim-
outside. Yeah.
Steven, your claim is that it's my media sphere that spread a lie that caused these riots. And I'm saying within my media sphere, what I'm following, that was not the impression of people.
And people
well,
had
wait,
already
but
people who
the
spread this on
protest
Monday had
literally
already apologized
happened
by Tuesday.
It doesn't matter. You guys know that better than anyone else. That a retraction on Tuesday, it doesn't matter if fake news was spread on Monday. The protest happened outside of a mosque, and you're telling me that had nothing to do with the fact that on X initially everybody thought that the perpetrator was Muslim, that it was just a coincidence.
This isn't just an issue.
No, wait,
of that
don't
one
don't
stabbing.
do the just thing. I know that you want to blow it up about all of immigration because when it's nice and hazy, it doesn't.
Of course,
there's no actual
of course
facts.
it's all connected.
But
Of
there
course
was
it's all
there was
connected.
an
It is
inciting.
delusional to pretend it's not.
There was an inciting moment for this riot.
Yes.
That inciting moment was people thinking that the perpetrator was a Muslim.
No.
Do you agree with that or not? So does everyone here disagree with that?
Oh, hi, Pisco. Pisco,
Hey,
could you
Lauren, how are
introduce
you?
yourself so people know
Hi,
who you are?
everybody. Yo, sorry I can't be on video, but I have to do it through my phone. But really appreciate being on. Yeah, I'm a lawyer from America, so happy to discuss these issues. And I know some stuff about immigration in America, so I'm sure the issues in UK are very different. But I try to stay apprised of what's going on there and follow the politics at least somewhat closely. But yeah, thanks for having me on. But my question is does everyone here agree or disagree with what Stephen just said, which was the inciting incident of these riots based on a lie related to a Muslim immigrant or not?
Well, I
No.
trust the guy who was there.
Yeah, I trust the guy who was
So-
there, and also
what-
what I saw.
Wait. When you say you trust the guy in there,
what's
you
the inciting
understand he has
incident?
every incentive to lie about it, right? What do you mean? Why would you say you trust the guy? Do you trust all the BLM rioters that were there?
Well,
That's not even a
Jack
real
isn't
statement.
just-
I was there to cover
Jack
it.
isn't just trusting
To
the guy who's
work.
there. I've been friends with him for over 10 years, so yeah.
All right, he's a good guy, but
Wait.
wasn't
So
that-
hold on,
what
just
was
curious
it?
because I don't know his Twitter. If I were to bring up his Twitter account and I were to look, is it going to be filled with wall to wall like far right anti-immigration stuff, or is it just going to be like, oh, a neutral observer journalist that covers a bunch of different things? Just curious.
Jack
Of course
was
I'm
Jack
anti-immigration.
literally.
Okay, then there you go. So then yeah, so nothing he says, I'm not going to take him. I'm not going to take him at face value because he said he was
you
there.
can see the videos that I saw. And again, I was also there, and also they literally attacked me for being a journalist afterwards.
Who is they?
Okay, Jack,
So,
the question
He
is,
actually
what was
has
the inciting
an
incident?
incentive
What was
to
it?
not be impressed with
Yeah.
these people.
Yeah.
Well, what
They-
was the
I
inciting
literally
incident if it wasn't
assaulted
this?
at the riot
What-
by them
Yeah.
for being a journalist. So if anything, I have an incentive to make them look as bad as possible.
Jack, what was the inciting incident if it wasn't this lie?
Because he was a second generation immigrant, and so therefore
When-
it's connected
when
to
was the-
if it
sorry,
wasn't for mass
what-
immigration, he wasn't here.
What was, but in this entire event, this series of events, would you agree or would you not agree that it was based on a lie?
No,
No.
I don't know. We have all said we don't agree that that's the case. If
But,
you
but
look
then
at
what,
the
what
protests,
else would have started it if not this?
so this
report?
was one
The Telegraph report he was a Rwandan immigrant.
Didn't
Thank
the
you.
first protest happen on July 30th?
No. Wait. Yes.
Yes, it did.
That's at the time, but that was when this came out. So let me just get the date. So yeah, it was the 29th of July when it actually happened, the attack. Then it was the July 30th, which is the next day at 8 p.m. when the protest happened. But by then, as Callum rightly pointed out, the Telegraph reported that he was a son of Rwandan immigrants.
So the anti-Muslim sentiment generated by the fake news story, in your opinion, had nothing to do with the protests.
No,
That's
it
correct?
has to do with the terrorism
No.
and grooming gangs.
Oh, wait, but
and
those
the
accusations.
protests-
Hang on, the grooming gangs accusations also relate to anti-Muslim sentiment, correct? Whether rightly or wrongly, wouldn't you agree that the grooming gangs epidemic that you're pointing to relates to Muslim immigrants primarily? That's the accusation, right?
Yeah, so the event is
Yes.
because the
Yeah,
guy's
yes.
done
Is
a-
that yes?
What?
but nothing to do with
point.
fake news.
So
but does it relate to anti-Muslim attitudes?
I'm going to talk. So the event is because he's a son of immigrants. Muslims are also immigrants to the UK. They have engaged in horrific acts. These are why these two are connected in these people's eyes, because they're both immigrant groups. So yes, they are against Muslims, but that's because they're foreigners, and the killer was a foreigner, and there's a lot of problems with foreigners in the UK. That's how this played out.
As I said, the protests said the inciting incident for the protests was the stabbing on Southport. But the protests pretty immediately became, and then as they spread across the country, became a wider anti-immigration protest, which is why they attacked a mosque on Tuesday, which is why they attacked a corner shop on Tuesday. This is why they've gone after asylum hotels. They've attacked police stations, because this has become part of a wider anti-immigration protest, and they've gone for all of the things which they see as being part of that wider problem.
Yeah.
I don't understand how, if you have a problem with like Muslim grooming gangs, why is it that a Christian second-generation immigrant stabbing somebody would cause people to riot outside of a mosque? Could you connect that for me?
Because it's all connected. It's all correlated. You have mass immigration occurring, or you have mass Islamization of the UK occurring as a result of mass immigration as well. So protesting outside of mosque is linked to a protest against mass immigration, obviously.
And Muslims.
Yes, of course. You didn't have a ton of Muslims in the UK pre-mass immigration.
No.
Okay, wait, but you understand that if you had no Muslims in the UK, this same event would have still happened.
Well, yeah, but then they would have targeted something else that was a symbol of foreignness. It just happens to be that Pakistanis.
You don't believe that.
Yeah.
This isn't true. That's not true either. Because if you had no Muslims in the UK, you probably had stricter immigration policy,
also
much stricter over the years, which probably would have resulted in this family not even being there.
Well, aren't these people like literally refugees from like the Rwandan genocide or some bullshit?
Listen,
well, he's killing kids, so he doesn't sound like a refugee.
Everyone claims refugee status right now.
Hold on, wait. Was the Rwandan genocide? That wasn't a legitimate thing to claim refugee status from? They're just economic migrants?
I'm saying that when we talk about whether or not every refugee should be in the country.
We're not talking about it. I asked a very specific question. We don't have to broaden it. It was just a very specific question.
I will also say, I don't know about these people specifically, but I do remember that some of the people who are responsible for implementing the Rwandan genocide, I believe, came to Britain after 1994. I may be wrong on that. Somebody can fact check me, but I do believe that happened.
Can somebody link real quick?
I'm not saying that about this family specifically.
Sure. Can somebody link real quick? When was the first time on Telegram or whatever the name of the real name was published? Can somebody link that in this Discord group?
Wait, where did you get the information that their family were refugees?
I read it on. I don't know if it was actually turned out. That's why I was asking.
I can't find it anywhere.
Okay, I was under the impression that he came from Rwanda. I haven't done a ton of digging in this story, so that's why I'm asking for links.
That doesn't mean he's a refugee.
No, he's second generation, so he wouldn't be a refugee.
Well, doesn't mean his parents were refugees.
It doesn't necessarily mean it. That's why I asked.
Just send it over here if it is, because I can't find it. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. I can't find anything on it.
We don't know if he's a Hutu or a Tutsi.
Exactly.
We do know one thing, right, folks?
Wait, but then also real quick, just somebody. I don't know if it's Sour or Lauren or somebody. Can somebody link the first time at Telegram? I want to see a post on July 30th at Telegram saying that that the guy is not like a Muslim person.
Sorry, the Telegraph.
Or Telegraph.
The Daily Telegraph.
Another good
on
point.
July 30th.
Another good point from the chat is if they were refugees from the Rwandan genocide, they should have gone home 20 years ago.
Don't you resettle?
Asylum status, at least in the United States, and I'm sure because the United States has adopted a lot of these foreign treaties, which provide for these procedures in many different countries. It's a pathway to citizenship. Asylum status is you get a green card in the United States, and so just because you're. But hang on, at least in the United States, the United States is very.
When we had a bunch of El Salvadorians come because of an earthquake, later on they had to get an
Can you turn up your mic, Sean? You're very quiet.
In the United States, asylum is a pathway to a green card. That's a fact.
Not all the time.
It's a fact, my friend. It's a fact. Asylum status can get you an adjustment of status, which will give you a green card and give you a pathway to citizenship. Asylum is for persecution, and that will give you a pathway to citizenship in most cases. Some people are ineligible to apply for citizenship for other reasons, but that just is the case. And so you're saying, well, all asylees or all refugees should go back home. That defeats the purpose of a lot of asylum laws, at least in the United States.
Asylum is different from refugee status, but
the definition of refugee is at least in America, is consistent. And actually, the asylum processes map on to the the processes, or at least the definition of refugee, for purpose of their procedures. One thing I want all of us to agree on, though, regardless of your stance on immigration, is the riots should be condemned. Is that fair? Everyone should condemn the violence that's going on right now in the UK. Can I get everyone on the record condemning the violence?
Yeah, you shouldn't be burning stuff. Everybody like knows that.
Awesome. Lauren, do you agree?
Yeah, don't burn stuff. But I'm not against protesting. I'm certainly not against the people protesting.
But you're against them using violence and the people who are deploying violence. It's illegitimate, right?
I am against violence, yes, but like
All right.
this is just like a whoosh, do the rounds, do the disavowals. This isn't actually addressing any sort of real issue.
Well, no, I'm glad that you disavowed it, Lauren and AJW. And Callum, you would also disavow this, and Sour Evil Boy, you would also disavow the violence and condemn
Well,
it.
legally, as British people, we can't support it.
I'm just asking, would you condemn it?
That means no.
Will you right now condemn the violence? Yes or no?
Oh my
Callum?
gosh.
Yeah,
yes
but
or
what's
no?
the point in asking? I legally can't say if I did
No.
support it.
I'm just
I would
asking
go to
if
jail.
you will, yes, affirmatively condemn it. Not.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
if I
telling you-
did,
Yes.
what's
No,
the point in
awesome.
asking? I would go to jail.
Well, you could just say no answer.
You know, it's
right?
like when I had that chat about the Trump stuff with Destiny, his whole audience were so upset. They're like, oh, by asking these questions of whether he supports the attempted assassination or not, Lauren's trying to get him banned off social media. By pushing Callum on this, you could literally be trying to put him in jail. That's what he's saying.
Only if his answer, he doesn't have to give an answer. He could say, I'm not going to answer that question, or that's a stupid question, or, who are you to ask me that kind of thing. There are a lot of ways that he could say, but
Even if
beyond
he
just
disagreed,
encouraging
he
it.
literally couldn't. So he's saying it's a pointless question.
He
because
couldn't
even
dodge
if
it? He couldn't
If
dodge
you had
the
a
question?
person on who supported the riots, you can't just sit and dodge the question because, again, they're looking for people to put in jail right now, and we don't have free speech rights.
Okay. I mean, I think it would be something like,
so even
I don't
if
know,
he had
quite
a
simple to
nuanced
dodge.
answer on
and just
it,
be like,
even,
no.
no, because maybe he has a nuanced answer on it, which is very possible, where it's like I condemn this or that, but I support this or that, and that could face jail time, and that's insane. Do you
He
condemn
couldn't
that
say,
he could
I
face
can't
jail
answer
time?
that question right now? He couldn't say that?
He's literally saying that.
Well, I heard him
we
say,
don't-
yes, I condemn it.
Look,
we don't.
can all
Let's say there's
agree
an
that
aspect
when
I like,
people
or I didn't like the whole
riot,
thing.
It's horrible and bad, and when minorities or whatever, then it's the voice of the unheard. We all agree with that.
Hang on, no one said
course.
that we supported riots. I think you have on this call, Stephen, who
Yeah, I think that's called
disavowed it
projection. That's called projection. What he just did.
and
It's okay.
got banned for saying that he was totally against the violence that was going on. I certainly was against the violence. So was Joe Biden, who I support. And so I don't
Yeah,
know
I
who
mean,
you're
like-
talking about.
Self-taught.
I will sort of say there have been a number of people who are on the left, certainly including like The Guardian, and there's been other commentators, Paul Mason, Ian Fitzgerald. I'll have to get these people's names up specifically, but you can see how they reacted in 2011 to the London riots, which was caused because there was a gangland member who was shot by the police. And that started riots all across the country. Yeah, these people in 2011 at the time were saying again, riot to the language of the unheard. This is, actually we need to defend the rioters. So, they started doing films about, how we need to
they were
reassess how
stupid.
the rioters look. Yeah, but I'm saying obviously now. Now we know that you're not saying this, but certainly a number of people on the British left right now who are saying that we need to send the army in have had the complete opposite opinion when it comes to left-wing violence.
I think that's fair. I mean, I'm not going to deny it. In America, there have been a lot of people who I think have had an about face on this, and depending on who the person is perpetrating it, I agree there's hypocrisy, but I don't think we should be victims of that hypocrisy. And I think we should stand up and, if there are people causing disorder and riots, I think that what Starmer said was, who can have a problem with it? I mean, you guys pointed to, I thought I saw you guys do the comparison shots between the BLM protests and his response to that versus the riots that are going on now. But can't you see a difference in supporting peaceful protests versus violent riots? And do you think that Starmer actually would equivocate between those two?
I don't understand what the point of this is.
The point of what? Of these questions? It's to make sure that we're all understanding what's legitimate, what's illegitimate. A few weeks ago, we had an assassination attempt on a former president of the United States. And now I'm going to go at Stephen. I think he was a little bit weak on it at first. And I think it's just important every time these things happen for us to
Don't
Like,
rope
be
me
honest
in.
with
Don't rope
yourself.
me on your cuckoldry, okay? Absolutely not. Don't rope me on your cuckoldry, okay?
Well, hang on. So now I am going to go after you because you did say, and actually you doubled down before, I think a week ago, when I asked you, would you still say that it's okay to burn down a police station in response to police, or I don't know, police brutality? And you said, yeah, it would be. And so now I'm going to go after you. Do you think it would be?
Hold on. First of all, a couple weeks ago, you asked me if I supported the particular burning down of a particular police station, which I don't ever remember doing.
In
What I said
Minneapolis,
was,
you
what I said,
supported yes or no?
I don't remember supporting a particular one. The line of questioning that was given from chat, and I think I still feel the same, was that if you indeed do, if it gets to the point where you want to riot and you want to get violent or whatever, I don't think you should ever riot against private property. But if you want to riot against public property, it makes more sense because this would be the target of your ire because you feel like or whatever, it's the government that's fucking you over or whatever. Pretty sure those were all of my statements. You can look it up and find something that contradicts it. I don't think I've ever said in particular, this police station should be burned down or this thing. Pretty sure all I've ever said is if you are going to riot, destroy stuff, it should at least be public property, not private property. Pretty sure those
Would
are the
you
same.
support or would you not support the burning down of a police station in BLM?
It would depend on the circumstances. Like random burning down of public property or random burning down, probably not. But like theoretically, let's say there was some police station and there was like a lynching of like 2 black people and the local cops exonerated all their own people and they said, well, nothing happened and like everybody saw the recordings or whatever. People decided to riot or whatever. It escalated to some violent shit. They burned it down. I don't know if I feel as bad about that. Like it makes more sense there, but I mean
so who are you to talk down to like these people then? I guess if they feel that immigration has like I totally disagree with them. I think they're stupid as hell, but they feel like their country's being taken away from them. That's the same kind of sentiment that I'm hearing from them.
Yeah, but my issue is they're always too spineless to just admit what they don't like. They try to pretend that it's about immigration or they try to pretend that it's about Muslims. It's about brown people. Like if they just said that, I'd have more respect for it. Like brown people are scary. I don't like the fact that there are so many of them immigrating to this country. First of all, the article that you linked me says nothing about this person being Christian whatsoever. So it just says that he was originally from Cardiff and that he moved there with Rwandan parents when he was age 6. So nothing in this article is about it being Christian. Okay,
That's
number
Cardiff
one.
in Wales.
Cardiff, or whatever, right? Okay, yeah, but that's my issue, is that if people would just be honest, if people just say, listen, these people are, the mass brown migrants are going to destroy our fucking culture or whatever, then I'd be like, okay, fine, I get it. But they don't. They hide behind like all this other like cringe shit. Like this guy earlier was just saying like, well, they happen to be protesting near a mosque and some of them might have thrown bricks through the window, but it wasn't about protesting outside the mosque originally. Like, bro, if you're going to burn down a police station, say it. If you're going to throw bricks into a mosque, say you're there to protest a mosque. Like, don't like mince words.
Steven, are you... Like you just said, if you're scared they're going to change the culture, how would they change the culture? How would they do that?
Who?
How would all these brown immigrants change the culture?
I can't. I'm not a racist, so I can't compute the question. Are you saying how Muslims could change the culture? Is that the question?
You guys are just afraid of brown people, and then you said it's all about these brown people changing the culture.
Like you said it earlier when you're like mass migration and Muslim, they go together, and it's like what?
Right.
Well, then.
How would the brown people change the culture?
Yeah.
How would the brown people change the culture?
I don't know how brown. Are you asking how Muslims would change the culture?
Is it because maybe there are other factors than just immigrants being brown?
There could be.
And maybe that's people's main issue, which is why people were protesting outside a mosque and not just outside random brown people's houses.
Do you understand that when a Christian does a terror attack, and the response is, we're going to protest outside of a mosque. And the only thing linking these two things together is that Muslims tend to be brown and the attacker was brown. That doesn't help your argument, right?
Two things that people dislike about mass immigration is when they stab children and also when they change the religious dynamic of the country to something that
This guy was a Christian churchgoer.
Yeah, well, he stabbed people. That is not in line with British culture values.
Well, technically, I mean, knife attacks and stabbing seem to be pretty British to me. But what does that have to do with protesting outside of a mosque?
Because
they're both foreign. It's not that they're brown; it's that they're foreign. They're not English.
Are you like part of the Church of England, or what was the British thing when they broke up with the Catholic Church? What is that?
Again, source on the guy being a Christian churchgoer.
So I'll pick you up on something first, Destiny, and I don't think maybe this is not your fault, but you said it doesn't say in that article that he's Christian. No one said that it was released that he was Christian. It was released that he was the son of Rwandans. Rwanda is like 99% Christian. That's where that comes from. It's not that in the article they said he was Christian, so it was Rwandan. Simple mathematics says that he's Christian.
Do you think that when it was released that he was Rwandan, you don't think there's like a heavy association going on with, like, if it's 99% Christian, why was the protest outside of a mosque?
Because they're both foreign. Now,
because
the United Kingdom,
exactly.
The United Kingdom doesn't work like the United States, where you guys talk about race so much. We talk about ethnicity, and if you're not English, you're not from England, you're foreign. Part of the massive vote for Brexit, for example, in 2016, was about white migration coming here, Europeans, largely being Eastern Europeans. again, it's in that instance, and while part of the wider discussion about immigration, we're not massively concerned about race when you talk to people. It's about foreigners. Now, being
Wait,
brown,
I thought you said it was
obviously gives
about
away that you are a foreigner
ethnicity,
more
or
likely.
so.
Sorry. You asked a
Okay,
question.
wait. So it's about ethnicity and it's about being English. What does English mean? What is the English ethnicity to you? What do we, just to make sure we're on the same?
So the English are an ethnic group.
Hmm.
They live in England mostly. The diaspora is a little bit around the world, like all other ethnic groups.
Is this like
They're outside of the
Anglo-Saxon, or
country.
what is a?
What, in the same
Hang
way
on.
you
So,
find
sorry.
Swedes
Are you
in
denying
English
that
speakers?
English exists as an ethnic group? Because
I don't know how. I'm going to be totally honest.
think
People
anybody
use
denies
nation,
that.
race, and ethnicity in like tons of different ways. I've never heard of the English ethnicity before. I think I've heard of Anglo-Saxon before, but I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. I'm not trying to poke
Okay,
fun of or make. I'm just not sure when you say English ethnicity. I'm not sure what that ethnic group or what you're referring to. I'm
They're
just curious if there's like a
Brits.
more particular.
Scots are up north. It's not hard. The Irish have their own island. The Welsh are from Wales. This isn't difficult.
you've got the English, Welsh, Scots, and the Irish on this archipelago.
So do you guys think that
And
England
those are
should
the
be
four primary ethnic
Okay,
groups.
wait. Okay. So when you talk about English, Welsh, Irish, or Scottish, do you consider that another ethnic group in the UK?
Sorry,
Yeah, I mean, they're
missed
all
the question.
slightly different.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't know. I'm just like I said. I don't know. We
I
use
put in the
ethnicity and race.
Google
Even between
definition of-
Canada and America, I think we use ethnicity and race different. Okay. So are you telling me that when you guys are trying to get the reduction of immigrants coming to the country, do you feel just as strongly about white immigrants, brown immigrants, Catholic immigrants, and Muslim immigrants?
So I
Well,
put
I
in
mean,
the definition
yes.
of an ethnic group in the chat if you can.
I mean, like as Callum was saying, the Brexit vote in 2016 was driven primarily by concerns of immigration from the rest of Europe. A lot of people were saying Poles, Romanians, who were the most of the people coming over to the UK for work, and obviously it was people's concerned about jobs and wages, and so people were concerned about people coming from Europe who looked just as white, quote unquote, as you or I. So that's why so the UK immigration stuff, it hasn't been racially, quote unquote, based for a while.
That's a simplification. I mean, they were also concerned about quote unquote sovereignty and the power of Brits to control themselves. And so
Yeah,
yeah,
also-
One final question. One final question. Then piece of conclusion.
Control their own
Have there
borders.
ever been like riots or anything outside of like Catholic churches?
Yeah, there were fights with Polish immigrants, if I remember correctly, because there were Polish gangs. I think it was in Boston.
Can
But-
you can
Yeah,
just,
that's
can you
right.
link me a story about like a vandalization or something of like a Catholic church that's happened in the last few years? I'm just curious. I was looking to see it.
You have to go and find it
mean-
because it was that's about 10 years ago we're talking now. But the discussion isn't about is it white or black is our point. And it's obvious that if you're a different skin tone, it gives away more likely that you're a foreigner or descendant of foreigners. That's just how things work. But the idea that it's not about all foreigners is not untrue. The problem specifically with certain communities like Muslims is that their crimes are a lot worse than Poles. So as a friend mentioned here, the concern with Eastern European migration was wages, jobs, housing, things like this. But when it comes to people from Pakistan, it's about the fucked up views they have about age of consent, for example. The crimes are much worse in that particular community, and therefore that's what's caused these tensions.
do you think they should be deported? You
Yeah,
think
we have a Pakistani rapist who's been here for 9 years after.
Do
he
you
served his
believe that they
sentence.
should en masse be deported?
Yeah,
Okay.
The
You believe so
rapists.
en masse? You believe Pakistani UK citizens should be thrown out of the country? Is that right?
I was talking about rapists.
No, but just in general, non-rapists.
Well, my position is that if they don't have citizenship, we should let their visas expire and not issue renewals of visas or new visas because we have too many immigrants.
Should UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage, should they be removed from the country?
If they have UK citizenship, you can't legally do it.
I'm not asking if you can legally do it. I'm asking, should they be? Should they
I'm
make
sorry,
it legal to do so? Parliament can make it legal to do so.
I suppose they could make it legal to do so. They
So
shouldn't.
should
do that.
they? Yes or no?
I just said they shouldn't
Why not?
because it would cause chaos and we don't need it.
But don't you agree that they're destroying the character of the UK? They're not English.
So the problem we have in the UK is the large numbers of people who are coming in. As Lawrence pointed out, Luton, for example, the reason it's changed so much is not because you have 10 guys who turn up who are foreign, it's because you have thousands.
Sure,
So
this would reduce
the
a lot of the numbers, right? If you, let's say 80% of them, you get 80% out. Wouldn't you agree with that?
The problem we have is people who have come since 1997. It's a very short period of time. It's about 10 million people. And if you just not allow them to renew their visas or issue new visas for new people coming in, those numbers will get back to levels in 1997. We didn't have these problems in 1997, so we will return to that time in regards to race relations.
I'm sorry, is this Pisco talking right now? or
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, who's got the loading screen on?
That's Loner Box. He's
Okay,
also
well, tell him to, okay, can you shut off your video if it's just going to be that little loading thing?
Yeah, dipshit.
I
Fucking
thought I turned it
moron.
off.
It's not off.
Yeah,
Click the turn off button, dumbass.
It's still loading.
Sorry, give me a minute.
This is the Scottish ethnicity showing through.
Calum, it seems like the issue that you're identifying with the proposal that I just put forward was logistics. Like it would cause too much trouble to deport millions of UK citizens. But in principle, you wouldn't have an issue with it if it were painless.
What, to engage in forced migrations?
To deport UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage.
Well, we just don't need to do it.
I mean, whether you need to or not, you're saying that the numbers are a big problem. It's a numbers game, and so who cares if they're visa holders or UK citizens? Yeah, well, maybe one's easier, one's not as easy, but why not just get them all out?
Well, you can make a good case if they've committed crimes. So, for example, the guy I mentioned, he raped women. I believe it was in Rotherham, served his sentence, but has Pakistani and British citizenship. And so we've been trying to get rid of him. And 9 years after his sentence has already been served, he's still not been deported.
So,
I mean, this is the level of problem we're dealing with.
To be clear, so you would agree then that therefore that UK citizens who have English heritage, ethnicity, let's say, should not be deported somewhere else, right? But UK citizens who have Pakistani heritage, maybe they should be deported, who do crimes.
I mean, if UK citizens commit crimes, we should lock them up.
No, but should we deport? But we wouldn't banish or deport them. You'd agree with that, right? If you're a UK citizen,
That's how Australia was made.
Whether that's how Australia was made or not, you would agree, wouldn't you, that we shouldn't deport UK citizens who have English heritage just because they commit crimes? That's fair, right?
But hang on, I mean, deport
Yes
them
or
to
no?
where? The entire point of what Callum mentioned, that somebody who has dual citizenship can be deported to the other country in which they hold citizenship.
My grandmother is English and I was deported. Just for questioning mass migration. So clearly this is a very possible thing to do.
But
Yeah,
citizenship, right?
Wrong. Like, if you don't have a good reason to engage.
Wait. Also, wait. Hold on. Wait, Lauren, you don't have British citizenship.
Well, I am British.
Stop. The English was the ethnicity, not the British. Okay, don't mix your words up. Don't accidentally, show your ass. Okay, no, the English was the ethnicity. You didn't have British citizenship, so you can't be. I don't know if that even counts as deportation if you're a visa.
She just wanted to tell her story about having her free speech suppressed. The
point is, it's very easy to prevent people from coming into the country for a lot less than stabbing little children and running around calling for Sharia law. They could do it. Very possible. They choose not to.
Why didn't the Conservatives do it?
Great question. They suck. They're not actually conservatives. That's why they got voted out en masse, because everyone wanted an actual conservative party, and they didn't get it. And now Nigel Farage is going to be the opposition because he's the only one that's actually representing.
But it sounds like the people don't support him, and this is one of my big problems.
Hang on.
Most people in countries want to limit immigration. Like this is popular across
the vast majority of the UK has always had a majority in favor of limiting immigration. Nobody has ever voted for mass migration, even though every party since Blair has done it since 1997. Nobody has ever voted in favor of opening the doors to the rest of the world.
What is the policy of mass
every
migration?
Every single time a party's won an election since 1997, they have won it on a pledge to reduce migration, or at least, crack down on border security. So the people have overwhelmingly voted for literally my entire lifetime, to shut down migration. And I know you said Brexit was built on some lies, but again, the primary factor driving Brexit was concerns over immigration. That was the number one thing why people voted Brexit, which is why you saw in various polls, as Boris got in power in 2019, immigration drop as kind of salience, because they thought, Brexit is now fixing it, but now immigration now popped up on people's issues again, because Boris, ironically, with the Conservatives over the past 5 years, has let in even more migrants than Blair did, almost just during his entire period. People have been talking about the Boris wave and the amount of new migrants who've come in literally just over the past 4 or 5 years.
You paint it as an all or nothing, but it's not like that. People want immigration to some extent, but not other extents. There's like people want taxes to some extent, but not the full extent. And so you painting it as, well, people are in favor of limiting immigration. Yeah, that's true. Here in the America, we have a Democrat and Republican Party who are both running on limiting immigration more. That's true. But no one is proposing things like what Callum is proposing, where we're just like getting rid of all of our visa programs. The most that we've done is like close down the customs union, right? But no one is talking about the kind of policies I think that you guys are proposing.
So the Conservative Party
just so you know as well, like the Labour Party did not run on tens of thousands net migration or capping or anything like that, and they got the biggest landslide since the 1800s, right? They got the biggest majority since the 1800s. We don't typically have referenda on every key policy. That's why you can have a situation where most people support nationalising the railways, but we don't vote in a government that does it. Same with immigration. You can look at our attitudes. Like I think you said, a majority of people want to limit immigration to some degree. I mean, that's true, but that attitude's also been dropping since the 1960s in the UK overall, and compared to the rest, depending on how you ask the question, it goes down even lower. So yeah, that's the Reform. They ran on a very loud, very clear anti-immigrant first campaign. They won 5 seats. 4 of which are like 94% white, which is way above the national average, which is
but Reform then came in second in vote share. Came third in vote share. Gained more votes than UKIP ever did. Came second in around 100 or so constituencies, and of course, more people would be voting Reform if they voted in a political system such as PR, where they thought, because a lot of people would not be voting Reform because they didn't have a chance. And if you're going to say that Labour, won this, massive majority, actually not to do with immigration. Turnout was way down to around 52%, which is the lowest turnout we've seen since around 2001, 2005. Labour did not win the election. The Conservatives lost the election. The Conservative support in so many constituencies, like the Labour vote barely moved at all. It's just the Conservative vote absolutely plummeted because everybody who supported the Conservatives, who supported them reducing immigration, for, again, when they've been in power for, the past 15 years, when they didn't do it, their voters decide, well, F it, I'm not going to turn out and support the Conservatives because they're not implementing the policies that we want them to do. That's why Labour won, because their support remained pretty much the same. The Conservatives fell off.
The fact is that everyone in the UK knows that that's the electoral system that we signed up to when we had the election. Every party ran their strategies and their campaigns based on winning seats, not winning popular vote. The Reform vote share, by the way, was I think they won maybe 200,000 votes more than UKIP did in 2016. It wasn't even that much of a surge. But again, turnout was low. There was a party there with a very loud voice, Nigel Farage, who gets disproportionate representation on question time and everything else, saying, I'm going to stop immigration like the Conservatives didn't. And yeah, like you said, turnout was low. So this is the electoral system that we have. If you want to change the entire system, you can advocate for that and get PR.
My point was, you can't use Reform being up 15% of the vote share to say that, only this percentage of people support Reform's policies. I'm saying more people would have supported Reform if we were in a PR system. That's my point. So you just can't say that because they only got X number of votes, that means it's only that percentage of the population who actually supports them, rather than it would have been.
We had a referendum on changing the vote system, and we voted against it. We had that 10 years ago. I mean, we can have another one if you want, but
yes, please.
Do you think our democratic system is illegitimate now, or was that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, the alternative vote one wasn't even PR. The alternative vote system would have helped the Lib Dems more as the third party. So that was just a purely selfish system.
We should probably explain how broken the British system is for the Americans. So you guys get to vote for both of your chambers. You get to vote for the head of state and some local stuff as well. So we in the UK, we don't get to vote for our equivalent of the Senate. They're just appointed. We don't get to vote for our president. They just become the biggest party's leader in the election for the representatives. So we have very little in terms of democracy. We love the referendum, I'll be honest. That's probably the best time I've ever had in terms of being proud of we had a democratic system. Since then, they tried to overthrow that referendum, which caused a lot of problems and why Boris ended up winning. So democracy in the UK is kind of a sham. I mean, it's
hold on. You have a different, just because you have a different system doesn't mean it's not a democracy, right?
It is a form of democracy, but it's super rigged. I mean, one of the funny things about people rebelling against that is in the United States, for example, you guys are stuck with a 2-party system. And that's somewhat tolerable because it's first past the post and you're in the 2-party. We used to be there, and it sort of made sense. Again, you know full well of the problems that brings. But in our current age, the public no longer vote as if it's a first past the post system. They say screw it and vote as if we live in a proportional representation, multi-party democracy, because they just want change. And by results, even though Keir Starmer got the most seats, he got 33% of the vote, which is bugger all, especially in British politics.
Wait, but I mean, like,
So
I don't understand. When you say he
election's-
got 33% of the vote, was this because of how you guys do like districting or whatever? Or because in the United States, this exact same thing happens too. Like our president that you said that we get to directly elect, we don't really directly elect them. Our states do. That's why Republicans win elections, even though they lose the popular vote over and over and over and over and over again. So,
Yes,
I mean,
you have your problems, but we don't even get that access at all, is my point. Can I say something on the build-up to this? Because this was very important, and our friend was bringing that up, which is that in 1997, so once upon a time, I decided to sit and look at every election manifesto of the winner of the election, going back over 20 years. So in 1997, the discussion on immigration used to be, we didn't have a problem with immigration, so they would just talk about what they called asylum shopping. So this was someone who would get to Greece and then claim asylum in the UK. We're familiar with this now, but back then it was kind of a quirk. Only a few tens of thousands of people did it. Then up to the 2010s, it becomes more of an issue. On 2010, the David Cameron government wins on the pledge to basically put in a hard cap of under 100,000. He said they will reduce migration to tens of thousands. That's where our friend Lonerbox got that saying from. And ever since, if you look at every Conservative Party manifesto where they won the election, they say the same thing. Right up until Boris Johnson, where they kind of gave up and just said we will control it. And then they massively expanded it. So yes, the public have voted for this policy, and it has been ignored.
Just quickly jumping in on that as well. Even Labour voters, as a majority, support lowering immigration.
can you link a poll on that? Just curious. I just want to see that. Because everything I see for like immigration in Britain seems to have it like 50-50, if it's what it feels like, in terms of whether there are too many immigrants here or not. So it's kind of weird if even Labour supports it. Who are all these people that...
I will just say, and Labour in the last election, they specifically... Labour specifically said to promise to cut net migration to the UK, did not set an overall target. So Labour specifically as well said that they would, and I'll find a polling on that as well.
Quick
But
fact
either way,
check.
go and check the manifestos.
Quick question: when did you say the name was released of the boy who did the stabbing?
Tuesday. Name released was Thursday, Friday. But
What
we
day
knew
of the
that he
month?
was a Rwandan.
Was it August 1st?
Sometime around that. Now, so what? Cameron's linking in the chat.
Was it August? Do you know it to be August 1st, or do you not know it to be August 1st?
In terms of when the name was released, I know it was like Friday, Saturday, sometime around that, or Thursday. It was towards the end of the week. If the point is you're saying it was after the first riot, then
Yeah,
yes.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we already knew his name. It was he was identified as the son of two Rwandan immigrants on Tuesday morning, which was July.
I'm asking when.
Can I just ask the question? Can I just ask? You can cut through all of this really, really easily. I just want to ask. Yeah?
Sorry. After you ask this, I just want to give Sean a chance to respond because his audio is a little low and he hasn't been able to get in. But yes, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just wanted to ask, do we all agree that the people who did those riots were more likely to be getting their information from accounts like Tommy Robinson's or X accounts than they were from the BBC, Telegraph, etc.? Why is everyone so quiet? Do we agree or not?
Because the answer is almost obviously, certainly, yes.
And again, Twitter on Tuesday morning, Twitter on Tuesday morning already, and Tommy Robinson, etc., were already saying that, again, as Callum says here, the youth who cannot be named for legal reasons and is originally from Cardiff moved to the Southport area with his Rwandan parents when he was age 6. On that side of Twitter/Telegram, by Tuesday morning, this was already spreading and people were well aware of this. Certainly by mid-afternoon.
Tommy Robinson first, when he mentioned that they spoke about Rwandan parents, Tommy Robinson just said it was gaslighting and didn't elaborate. That's what his tweet said. Did we all watch the video that Tommy Robinson?
The gaslighting people were talking about. I don't care about the Tommy Robinson video. The gaslighting people were talking about is when the mainstream media came out and said he was Welsh.
Or UK-born, which is
UK-born, yes.
That they described him.
Well, he is UK-born.
The gaslighting we have actively heard in this call has been you guys saying, well, he's the son of refugees and he's a Christian. Do you have any confirmation on that? For all of the getting upset about what was specifically said by people who was no one in this call, What about you guys and all the
I'm not talking-
BS
what?
you're talking about? I mean, both Steven and Pisco have been like Christian.
wait, hang on.
Wait, hold on.
LGBT
Yeah, this is about what was going on in the media sphere about the rights and everything. I haven't covered this. I haven't give a fuck about any of
What's
this
going
shit.
on in the
Okay.
media sphere? He was Welsh. She was UK born.
Both of those statements are true.
He's a white guy. Yeah, but if you leave out the other details, you're sure.
Wait, were there people reporting this who were leaving out the other details, or people who were remarking how funny it was to be throwing bricks at a mosque because a Welsh-born Christian went and stabbed people?
Why he's a Christian?
Hang on, Christian, source is Christian,
Source?
please.
Okay,
Source?
hold on one second.
Yes. So what you're saying now on the Christian point shows the whole game, right? You're saying it's not even confirmed now if he's Christian. Is that right?
Yes. No.
Is that correct?
I thought I already linked something in this
Wait,
Discord.
So
When
you
people
just
talk,
said,
let me just clarify
yes
something.
or no. You just said yes or no that even now we don't know that he's Christian. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
When the sort of
given
Christian
that-
Muslim stuff was being talked,
Given
I'll
that,
just clarify.
hang on a second. Given that, the fact that it was released that he was Rwandan on Tuesday, that's what you say, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We have no evidence that reached mass, information or that it was reported by credible sources or anything like
Better
that.
be fucking live here,
but
okay.
the fact that you're
Yeah.
saying now that it's not confirmed that he's Christian, you would agree, therefore, that the first riot occurred before that information was released and when it was under the impression that he was Muslim. You would agree with that?
No.
No,
It was
no?
on Tuesday. It was on Tuesday. The Telegraph reporter. We've linked you this in the chat. We've talked about it. On Tuesday, the Telegraph reported he was the son of 2 Rwandan immigrants.
But you said that isn't confirmed for even for you that he's Christian. Is that fair?
But there's nothing to do whether he's Christian or not.
We've established.
But
this already.
people weren't rioting over him being Christian. They were rioting over him being foreign.
But
And
he's
that's
not
why
foreign. He's
they
born in the
attacked
UK.
mosque.
You keep saying
Can we
foreign, but he was
just-
born in the
what-
UK.
Just so you guys know what.
But the point is,
so as
he
far
would
as him being
never have
Christian-
been here if immigration didn't happen.
You don't even
That's
know
what
how his
people
family
are
got
mad
here,
about.
though. You don't know what they immigrated under. What if they immigrated under a perfectly legal thing? What if it was like an asylum refugee
That doesn't-
situation? You have
That's
no
the
idea.
point. Yeah, people don't want immigration, and that's
Wait,
why.
is
And
it
they're
asylum-
saying.
Wait. Then
He
at
was-
least
he
then
was
at least
Muslim,
specify
never
that.
let in. He
Wait.
would have stabbed
Then at
kids.
least specify that. Don't say you're opposed to mass immigration. Just say you're opposed to immigration. Period. You don't want any immigrants. No immigrants at all. Refugee asylum. Nothing. No immigrants at all.
You don't want any immigrants.
Yeah, because
Is
you're
that
appealing,
fair?
you're appealing to popular opinion. Popular opinion when it comes to limiting immigration. People might say they want immigration reduced. People don't say stop them all coming. As far as we know about Christianity, I think there was one or two tabloids. I think like TRT said that the people in the local community said that the parents were regular churchgoers and they were Christian. That's what they said. As far as we know, these parents they were from a quiet community. They hadn't really done anything. I don't think they were refugees. They came in 2002, which probably just means they were regular migrants. But I don't know. What's the claim here? Like, you understand that any demographic ever is going to have some people who commit crimes.
Okay,
So,
the amount of crime being committed by specific demographics,
Yeah.
it's a little uneven. But before we continue, I do, Stephen, you're really good at
You wanna
troubleshooting.
elaborate on
Do you
that,
think
Lauren?
you could? Yeah, I will. But could anyone? I really want to get Sean's mic audio up. Does anyone know what he needs to do? I am
my
way too
God,
much of a
what's wrong
boomer.
Turn his gain up, maybe.
Yeah. Well, the problem is he's using the streamer mic, which is the SM7B. Do you have a cloud lifter attached to it?
Yeah.
Okay, you do. Is the gain on the on your mixer or your interface turned up?
Let me find that. Hold on. Probably that's the.
Wait, what is that? Is
Stop
it?
getting mad at each
Wait.
other.
What are you plugged into?
We'll try turning it on and off again, sir.
Oh, my mixer is somewhere. I
Please.
just gotta find it, but it's definitely there. Hold on, let me find it. I'll turn that up. I didn't think of that.
Said while this is all being debated, as people saying talking about Christianity and that what well, when was the last time a Christian
Jack,
for
we're
religious
troubleshooting.
reasons
Sorry.
blew up an arena?
When was the last time a what?
A
let's
Christian
talk about the
blew up.
Manchester bombings.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no idea.
They don't.
Okay.
And
So
spoiler,
Am I getting
they
louder
haven't.
or lower?
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
but Lauren, a little bit before I jumped on, you said that it looks like what Stephen made a joke about stabbing being a British thing. You said it looks like it is now. What were you referring to there?
Am I getting lower or higher?
You
That
quipped about how it
stabbings
looks
and
like it's a
acid
stabbing country
attacks
now.
have
Yeah.
gone up as a result of mass.
I just think it's
migration,
funny that
yes.
you mentioned. It's funny that you mentioned that because, like, as far as stabbings being a problem in the UK, the worst time we had stabbing, and when we were the fucking knife murder capital of Europe, was in like the mid 2000s in fucking Glasgow, like a majority white pasty fuck population.
Counts on
that's
white.
when we had back when people like in that community had like a life expectancy that for men it was like 54 or something, like lower than the Gaza Strip. That was actually when we had it worst with knife crime.
I mean, you can send me that data. I'd be happy to look at it. But
And I mean, there was a time known as the Troubles where there were bombs going off and terrorism happening. And so, let's not pretend that this is. I agree. There's a problem with terrorism in the Islamic world, but like, what are we talking about here? Are we literally talking about shutting down all immigration? Are you in favor of laws that stop all immigration, including asylum? Yes or no? And that's to Callum and I'm sorry, I keep forgetting your name. Sour Evil Boy and Jack.
sorry,
You're in favor of stopping all immigration?
Right now, for you to tell me if I'm getting higher or lower.
A little bit.
You're
a little
fine.
bit higher.
You're getting a little
We
higher.
can hear you now.
Higher.
A little higher.
Keep going.
Up.
Turning the wheel. Is it too loud now?
No, wait.
No.
What are you turning the wheel on? What are you
Still
plugged
doing
into?
shit.
A doohickey.
I need the name of
doohickey,
it. What are you plugged into? Is it red? What color is it? Show me it. Pick it up.
It's blue. I have a doohickey. I left my red one somewhere.
Is that an H1 whatever? H4?
You're using an
No.
XLR to USB with an inline fucking converter. Where's your cloud lifter? Show me.
Jesus Christ.
Is
It's
it?
a regular cloud lifter. It doesn't have dongles on it.
It looks like. Oh no, I can't.
That's
This
the
thing.
blue cloud lifter.
Not
It-
that I'm using it. Right.
Am I retarded? Do cloud lifters need phantom power to work?
What's fan?
None of us non-streamers know what the fuck. any of
Loner
you are
box, you
talking
should know
about.
this. You fucking.
No, they don't need phantom power. I don't think.
Guitar
because
loser
it would be
fuck.
for. It's a dynamic
This is
mic,
just
so it
going all the
wouldn't
way,
need
all the way
Any
from my head.
power.
I have a cloud lifter. It lifts. Wait,
Okay.
why can't I be heard? I don't understand
You're
this.
a little better. I don't know how, but you are a little better.
Because somewhere
Maybe-
between your cloud lifter, there's a
No, yes,
How
hold
much
on.
larger
Fuck you guys.
USB?
Cloud lifters do need power to work. It needs power. It adds gain. How would it work otherwise? It's just an XLR cable.
Phantom power. Yep.
Am I louder than everyone?
You don't. Does the inline thing that you have built? Does it have a plus 48V switch on it somewhere?
No, I don't have that. Whatever.
Okay. Your shit is fucked.
It gives phantom power.
yeah, power and phantom power are not the.
What else would you be talking? Excuse me. If you're talking about power for a mic, first of all, I said phantom power. But secondly, what else would you be talking about? It's an XLR cable. They don't carry power to it. Of course, you're talking about phantom power. Otherwise, right?
Wait, hang on. Wait. Cloud lifters. You're talking about the mic. Oh, okay. Cloud
Cloud
lifters.
lifters. They're like they're clean. They're like.
The mics don't, but
Is it a preamp? I think. Yeah. Listen, your shit
What's
is
your
fucked.
favorite
Yeah.
amplifier, guys?
AC30, obviously.
I don't know. Maybe
never
just
got out of
hit
stage,
sports
right.
settings.
You
Also,
can turn up
wait.
your
As
own
just a
audio
quick,
and-
as a quick real fact check
Your
by
own-
an American patriot who is white. When we talk about do Christians bomb shit, wasn't there like a whole thing with Ireland for a little bit where they were kind of blowing shit up all the time?
They're
As I
friends
said,
now,
as-
believe it or not.
Oh well, so things can change. Oh, amazing. All right.
As
the
you know,
murder
like,
capitals of Europe now are all like
Yeah, when
fucking
someone who
Estonia,
bombs
Latvia,
stuff more
Lithuania
than
as
you
well,
do
by the way.
comes
Yeah.
in.
hang on,
changes.
like couple things pull up there. Firstly, like Northern Ireland just looks, from the outside, you can say, oh, it's a Catholic versus Protestant thing. It's not. It's an Irish versus British thing. It's an ethnic conflict that happens to, match onto religious lines. They weren't killing each other because they believed in, sola scriptura. No, they were killing each other because both of them believe that they had in their communities the right to live in Northern Ireland. So it's not a religious conflict; it's an ethnic conflict. It just happens to be across, sectarian divides in that way.
You don't think it's
And
religious at
secondly-
all?
You don't think like Ian
and
Paisley was like that
secondly,
fucking
just pulling up on the
reverend.
knife crime. The only reason why other people have like there's fewer knife murders here is because the hospitals are getting far better treating stab wounds, so people don't actually die.
I do want to bring up a graph here, and I can link it in the chat. But if
Wait, what are these huge gains in treating knife stabbing wounds? Have there been big strides in the field of knife stabbing wounds treatments made?
where do you think the top 10 to 20 countries are all around? Where do you think Japan
I have
is
no
versus
idea.
Somalia?
For what?
I have no idea. Are you comparing the crime
Violent
rate?
crime conviction rate. No. These are immigrants.
Immigrants
to
from
Denmark.
Japan. Yeah,
Immigrants
I'm not-
from, say, Europe, Norway.
Is
Very
it
similar to
normalizing?
Denmark.
Is it normalizing?
I'll send this.
As soon as you said
Well,
normalized, the answer is already
Denmark.
absolutely no. The answer is
We're
already
talking about the
absolutely
UK.
no.
Well, then I'm gonna just discard that.
No, I'm just. This is
our mass
point is,
immigration data. We don't believe
everybody
in-
knows it.
We don't believe in normalization
Everybody
here.
knows it. There are certain countries, certain immigrants who commit more crime than others, and denying this is just delusional.
Yeah, but no
Okay,
one's
Lauren,
denying that, Lauren. I was just asking you to elaborate on it in the UK. Which ethnic groups in the UK are doing the
okay.
most crime? Because
It's
these
probably
riots seem
very
to suggest
similar.
they're going for Muslims, right? So,
Okay.
I'd also then
You don't think
pulling up, for example,
Islamic
the chart
immigrants
in
are more
terms of
likely to commit crime than?
No, this is
asking
why.
you-
Hold
I'm
on.
I'm
It's so
asking you to elaborate.
It,
I know the
your
answers,
your
I'm asking
arguments
you.
would carry more legitimacy if you actually like had more targeted. I haven't looked at immigration in Europe in a long time, but my understanding was that your group of immigrants that were the most likely to commit crime were generally people that were immigrating from northern Africa. But when you just say
Yes.
Muslims, like the people that came from Syria in the refugee crisis were not the same as people that come from like Morocco and Tunisia, like North Africa. It's not the same
Syria's
type.
pretty high.
But when you say
Syria's pretty high on the crime rates.
when
as
you
well.
say I
I
don't
just throw
I
you
don't
something
even
on the arrest rates if you want. Like we can look at. So I think in the UK the highest crime rates are from people from the Caribbean, no, from Windrush, like those generations. I thought that was where all the big disproportionate crime waves are coming from. The massively high arrest and conviction rates. For Pakistanis, it's a little bit higher than white, not much. I think it's 11.3 versus 9.4. Arabs in the UK have a lower arrest rate than white people. It's like less than half. So yeah, it's a little bit. That's why I'm asking you. I feel like you don't know though. That's why.
So I have to
if you
applaud
want to
you
send me
commenting
that
on it?
data
Yeah.
showing that Arabs commit less crime than white Brits, I'd be happy to look.
hold
at that.
on,
the arrest
Arabs
rates
or
are lower.
Muslims?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What the fuck?
What do you mean?
So I have
Arabs
to-
or Muslims?
That had nothing
Here's
to do with
the.
What?
Loner Box said Arabs and
Of
Lauren
UK.
repeated Arabs. But
Yeah,
but
he
Loner
said
Box is
Arabs.
going through and is making the good point, I think, that there are different groups of immigrants who are Muslim. I mean, Pakistan is different than they're not Arab, right? And Arabs are different, maybe from one locality versus another. And people from Rwanda are not even Muslim. So like it seems like
You know
there's the one
No.
factor that cuts through everything is they're all brown. That
They
seems like to be
stand
like,
true.
what's going on here?
Well, you know what? You're
No,
probably
I'm-
right. If a Norwegian person that was born in Norway and their family came from Norway that was Muslim came over to the UK, they would probably commit.
Wait,
less
Norway's
crime.
not the country that had the one dude that like walked to the island with
Unless
like a
it's
bow and
private,
arrow
yeah.
and like fucking killed like
That's
20
one
people or
dude,
some
that's one
shit. Okay.
That's
One
aside
dude.
from the point.
Wait. So I have a question, Lauren.
That's
Would you
one
be
dude. That's like
actually-
half the population of Norway, to be fair.
I want to ask Lauren, unironically, would you be in favor, if it's true, if what you're saying is true, and that Muslim immigrants commit much more crime, why wouldn't you be in favor of a Muslim ban into UK?
Favor of reasonable levels of immigration that are sustainable and have actual assimilation connected to them.
Sure, but it
doesn't
seems
mean
like the Muslims
total
are the big
ban on
problem.
Muslims.
Yeah, but it seems like Muslims are the big
when
problem. So why not?
when you have enough people come into a town like Luton that I can't put up a pride poster without people spitting on me and the police having to arrest me because it's going to cause a riot. Yeah, you have too many Muslims in one area that aren't
So
assimilating.
let's
Yeah.
why don't we follow Donald Trump's lead and let's ban Muslim immigration until we figure out what
I mean,
the
that's
hell's
what
going
you're
on?
saying.
Well, yeah,
That's not
yeah,
what
I'm
fine.
asking whether you
Look,
I mean,
Would you
I
agree?
would just
This
put
is-
it wouldn't just be Muslims. It would be you need to stop immigration
have to start
until
somewhere.
you have proper housing numbers for people.
Well, why don't we start somewhere?
Until you have cultural cohesion again. Why would we start with just Muslims? That's you
Well,
saying
because they
that.
seem to
That's
be the
not
biggest
me.
problem, right?
Here's
I mean, there's
Wait,
a
but don't
model.
they-
for-
you
There
just
is
said
a
they were the biggest
problem.
problem.
There is a problem there with
It's an-
extremism for
it's
sure.
an-
Why don't we start there? Why don't
and
we
then there's a
start there?
problem with
I mean, if
grooming
you want to,
gangs.
sure.
No. But would you agree with the policy, Lauren? Would you?
I
Agree
just
with the
told
policy?
you the policy I agree with. You're not listening. I said
No,
that
but
I
like if
think we
someone
need
said,
significantly less immigration to the West.
Okay,
I
so
don't
here's
think it
the
needs to be
question.
everyone. I don't think it needs to be specific to.
I understand, Lauren. You're you're president. I know it's prime minister, but I'm just joking. You're president of Canada, or let's make it UK. You're the prime minister of UK. A bill comes across your desk, and let's say that you have to sign it. I know it's different in the UK. I know it's different. Would you sign it if it said ban all Muslim immigration into UK? Would you sign it? Yes or no?
I would propose a different bill that was just based on
So
mass
would you veto
immigration.
it?
Because, like you said, look at this Rwandan. Probably not
But-
Muslim.
so-
we
so
don't
is the
know,
answer
but
you-
probably
is the
not
answer
Muslim
you wouldn't-
causing problems.
Is the answer you wouldn't sign that bill if it was before you?
If that was the only bill I had available to stop the hordes of people coming in, yeah, I'd probably sign it, but I would prefer something else that wasn't specific to
Okay.
just Muslims.
That's
Like, you're giving
just-
me the most strange niche question ever and forcing me to answer yes to it. Like, what is the other option? You just let everybody
You
in?
could say no. This bill is. You say no. I don't agree.
I literally, my first answer was no. I would prefer a bill that addressed wider immigration issues and still had flexibility for
No,
people
because
who
you-
were non-radical Muslims
you-
to come
you
in,
could-
not
you
in
don't
mass
carry
where they're
that
taking
forward.
over
Wait.
whole neighborhoods.
But you could easily say no. I don't agree with Islamic immigration restrictions based on religion. I don't agree with that. You could have said that and been like, I'm not
Sure.
going to sign this.
That's literally what I said, and you're not
No, but
listening.
you said that if push came to shove and that were the only
I
immigration bill on your
said,
desk, you would
if
sign
push
it.
came to shove, and that was my only option to stop the mass immigration, which is causing issues across the board, that have nothing in some cases to do with religion, just violent crime, everything. Yeah, I would rather sign that and perhaps prevent some grooming gangs and stuff, but that would not be my preferred method of approach. No, that would not be it.
It would be an infringement, wouldn't everyone say, on the right to practice your religion? If we're making restrictions based on religion, where does it end? I mean, really? I mean,
no one is like no one here is saying that. You're making an extreme hypothetical to try to push me into a box to say, look, you want to restrict. I don't want that. I've told you. I don't want that.
In this country, and at least in America, it's not an extreme hypothetical because a leading candidate for president proposed it. And so it's something that we have to deal with because there are people in my country, a lot of people, who agree with an outright Muslim ban as a policy. And so to me, it's anything but hypothetical. We had years of litigation over
happening, and it didn't happen.
Okay, now you can say the ending up, bill wasn't a Muslim ban, but it's an issue in my country. It's not what I'm proposing to you. What I'm telling you isn't something that's just a hypothetical. And in fact, people from the English Defense League, whatever this league is, right? I'm sure that they would all say yes, happily would sign it. Of course, they would. That would be the point, right? I mean,
sorry, just going to say the English Defence League, which hasn't existed for 10 years, by the way, mind you.
Whatever these people are, these Robinson guys.
It's just kind of funny to have Americans just talk all this shit about the states that they don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, Jack, would you answer the question? Would you agree? Would you sign happily a ban on Muslim immigration to UK? Yes or no?
Well, I want a ban on all immigration to the UK.
But if they were to start with Muslims, would you start there and would you sign a Muslim ban?
No, I wouldn't sign a Muslim ban specifically.
Okay, that's great. I'm glad to hear that you're not in favor of Muslim ban. Callum, would you?
It doesn't go far enough, so no.
Okay. So that's a start.
I just want to stop all immigration.
Even asylums, right? All forms of immigration, all visas too.
Ukrainians, because they made up. That's the reason the net migration spike. Yeah.
Here's a point on asylums and refugees, for example. The problem with the mass immigration is because of how tiny our country is in terms of population, infrastructure. Like, we can't actually take, people who should be asyled here temporarily. So, for example, if we didn't have massive immigration, we probably would have had the infrastructure to temporarily take some of the Ukrainian refugees over, who would then be able to. They wouldn't live here forever, but they're able to go home after the war ended. Hong Kong, obviously, like in terms of international British obligations, we have more of that because the treaty with China to defend Hong Kong is made with us, and there's people moving Hong Kong right now who are being oppressed over that. But if like 200,000 Hong Kongers came in, like a country with no mass immigration would probably be able to handle that a lot better than a country where you have millions of people coming in basically every year.
And mass immigration is a system that currently exists in the UK. Mm-hmm. And that's represented by the asylum.
You have to say millions. Like, net migration has never been a million in the UK, has it? Maybe like.
Over the last year, it pretty much just hit almost
net migration. I thought net migration was 600,000. No.
No, it hasn't been for a couple of years now. I have put in a graph in the chat. I will relink it.
Let me see your
Sorry,
graph.
I'm a bit annoyed because I'm a bit obsessed with that topic, and it's annoying how little people seem to have picked up on it. Mass migration to this country was described that way when it was at 300,000 because it was a massive change from our pre-1997 situation.
The net migration graph you sent me is below a million, just so you know. It's what I said. It's about 600,000. It's a bit over 600,000.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm probably thinking of something else then, but I'm pretty sure it's higher than that. Maybe it's not including refugees for that graph. But
yeah.
You think there are 400,000 refugees coming to the UK in 1 year?
I think there was a separate section on that, actually, if I recall correctly.
I feel this is like the go-to topic for you guys. I feel like you should have these numbers fairly accessible. Net migration was unusually high in 2023, partly because a third of them were Ukrainian. It was 685,000. Usually we're about 400,000. Where did millions come from?
Because you count the numbers. So if Lauren comes back, she's currently away. So if she could get that graph on screen. Hello.
I'll bring a graph on screen.
We'll
see if I can do that.
It's a bit shittily done.
Okay, you said asylum seekers made up the difference. How many asylum seekers came to the UK? And you said refugees, asylum seekers, no?
I said it may be.
It may be. How confident are you in that claim?
On? Callum, which page is this on?
So it's in the Discord. It's I put a full
Are you guys not like the go-to voices in immigration? You don't even know the fucking numbers for net migration and asylum seeking in the UK, and you're guessing millions.
I'm about to help him bring it up. Callum, which page of this?
Why does he need fucking help?
Is it on? What? Because he wants to
Because
get
you're
it
talking.
right.
Shut
Obviously.
the fuck up. So if you go to the bottom of the chat, you can then find a full stop. That should take you, the thing it's full stopping towards should take you to the image I've added. I'm not the go-to voice for this thing. I'm a travel vlogger, mate. But that graph is horrific.
Okay.
People want to return to the 1997 era. They don't want to live in the current era. That's the complaint.
Hey, just so you guys know, the net migration was unusually high in 2023, and it was like 600,000. Usually it's 400,000. For asylum seekers, it was 84,000 in that year. But
yeah, that
even
sounds
that was
horrible.
unusually high.
Yeah, that's still 700,000
Partly
people.
to do with
So
that. Yeah, again. Okay.
I'm so sorry that I mixed up gross and net. You know, when the net is when the actual point is that still over 1 million people came to the country. Yeah, Brits are then leaving. You know, like, hey, maybe I wonder, maybe a reason why so many Brits are leaving is because millions of people came to the country.
Wait, is that true? Do you know that?
That could be a factor in that.
First of all, when you say, sorry, I mixed up gross and net, I mean, it's gross and net is kind of important, right? Like if 500,000 Muslims migrated to your country and like 10 million left, I'm sure you'd be happy about that. So gross and net matter, number one. Number two,
yes,
wait,
but
are all of our
correct,
good,
but in
like
terms
white
of the
ethnic
scale, it's
British
still
people
hundreds
leaving
of thousands?
the UK? Where are they going? Where are they going to a place that's free of Muslim immigration if they're leaving the UK? Are they going? They're not going back to the European Union, I hope, because that would be pretty embarrassing if that was the case, right?
I mean, a lot of people are moving to Australia right now. You see, even Australians complain that so many Brits are moving there when they have a housing crisis. So,
Same.
So
We've
the
got
largest-
a problem with Brits coming here.
Yeah, the largest
Canada as well.
immigration of-
I believe Brits are still a very significant immigration population to Canada, the US, and Australia.
Yeah, we're trying to do something about that, but
I need to kick 2 people because have someone else coming in here shortly. Is anyone like have to leave soon?
You can kick me.
Who is that?
Pisco.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I
guess
mean,
you've just
you
been
can kick
sitting.
me if I'm unhearable. I'm just like kind of sitting.
Oh,
here.
if you have more to add, I feel like you haven't gotten to chit chat at all. Are you
This
gonna?
is
Are
the
you?
worst piano recital ever. Am I still like not hearable? I don't
No,
understand.
we can hear you now. We can hear you now.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, okay. You know
But
what?
I wanted to argue.
Just
these
stick
niche,
around.
like,
Pisco said
factoids
he's
that
gonna
have
go,
nothing
and then
to do
I'll
with
just
anything.
add Lucy. Lucy will be good because she is. She's kind of got critiques of all sides.
that means she's a
British as
conservative
well.
1 trillion% and is exclusively anti-immigration and has never said a good thing about a left-leaning person her entire life. I'm ready for it. All right.
He's
All right,
against
thanks,
the
guys.
riots, but okay. Oh, Pisco just left on his own. That's helpful.
Good. Fuck him. Peruvian immigrant, by the way, isn't he? What is he? He's something bad.
All right.
truly the worst. I'm joking.
Okay.
But if you-
Sorry, I couldn't get your document up here, Callum. It doesn't take me directly to the graph, but I did my best. If you tell me
Okay,
what
I'll get a
page
tweet
you
with
want.
it in for you.
But
Yeah, if you tweet it out, I can. Stephen, do you actually think that these riots between the BLM and the UK stuff are comparable?
I mean, they're both riots.
Do you think they're
I
comparable
mean-
in the UK, Lauren? Like the BLM protests in the UK
I
compared to
think
these riots and the first
there
6
is-
days?
Nothing comparable between them. I mean, I've said that on X. I've explained my reasoning. In one case, you have people actively asking to dismantle the police, literally, defund the police. And in the other, people are saying, please enforce our borders.
You understand? Wait, hold on. No, wait. So wait, hold on. Wait. I want you to give me a better version of what you think BLM was protesting for. Try one more time.
Against police brutality, but we had plenty of people, media, activists, BLM heads of the organization saying defund the police.
And
as
when
their
they were saying
position,
defund
and
the
denying
police,
that
why?
was
What were they
unhinged.
saying it for? What do they want to do? What was the end goal there?
Because they believe the police are racist.
And what was the end goal?
The end goal was community policing,
Just
Chaz.
save
I
the
said-
There you go. Okay, there you go. Now you're saying it with derision because that's so
Yeah, but
unbelievable to you. But there you go. At least you did it. At least you did a little bit
community
better.
policing
Okay.
is unhinged.
Yeah, about as unhinged as saying we should deport every single second generation immigrant from the UK. You know, it's a fantastic position that will never
People-
happen, right?
People are not even asking for that in mass.
There's someone in this call who was saying they would want to do that. What do you mean?
What do you think, wait, Lauren? What do you think the rioters want in the first 6 days?
The
This
rioters
is not.
want
I'm sorry.
Hang on.
Sorry, I just want to say I didn't say that. I don't believe
They
Callum
don't
said
just want
that either.
borders. Don't stop saying they just
who in
want
this call-
borders.
Wait, who in this call said that?
Well, I heard somebody earlier today. Didn't somebody say that they would deport if they had the ability to? Didn't Pisco ask one of the 2 people in here questions if they would deport all fucking Muslim immigrants or whatever? Did I misunderstand that?
Oh, who said that?
don't remember who. Pisco was talking to somebody else. I'm doing notes over here.
Well, we talked about deporting criminals. We talked about getting rid of people's visas, letting them expire, and then deporting people. But, nobody said we should deport every second-generation immigrant here.
Hold on. No, who are Muslim. Sorry, my bad. Muslims.
I also believe we didn't say that either.
Is it okay? Wait, Callum, are you in favor of deporting Muslims from the United Kingdom?
No, I'm in favor of getting rid of foreigners. Again, we don't talk in terms of race and such. We talk in terms of ethnic groups.
Okay, I didn't bring up a race or ethnic group. I asked for Muslims. So you're okay keeping all the Muslims that exist in Britain if they're white?
No, the foreign ones have to go.
What is, when you say foreign, how foreign? Like up to second, third, fourth generation? What does that mean?
No, if they're on a visa, you let the visa expire, and then if they overstay their visa, they've now committed a crime which they can be arrested and forcibly deported for.
Okay, so then like the kid that did the, so then the kid that just did the stabbing a few days ago, you wouldn't be for deporting somebody like that before he did the stabbing because he's a second generation immigrant.
I don't know his immigration status. Just because he's born here doesn't mean he's a British citizen. But we shouldn't be in this situation to begin with.
Wait, why?
Just to be clear, most of the migrant crime in the UK, whether it's Windrush or the grooming gangs and all that, like these are mostly second-generation immigrants, or at least disproportionately. So these people, it's not about visa question. These guys are British citizens.
I don't know how they did.
I know we shouldn't have gotten this situation. We should have never allowed their parents to come.
And they're here now. So, do you have any plans for them, or do they just stay and have kids, and those people have kids, or what?
Well, if they're citizens, you can't forcibly deport them. It's very sad. If they've got dual citizenship, you can get rid of them. And in terms of those on visas, that makes up about, I think it's 50% of our foreign population. So about 5 million people, which would completely correct the problems we're dealing with.
Wait, what? Say that last part again? Sorry, I didn't hear.
It would completely correct the problems we're dealing with to get rid of the 5 million who have come in the last 20 years who are on visas. Okay, but you would... I guess early when you were saying deport foreigners, I don't know, what is a foreigner to you? What does that count as? Just somebody that doesn't have citizenship, or? So in conversational terms, when we use the word foreigner, we mean people who are not of the English, when we're talking about England, in the same way that if I'm English, for example, so I wouldn't be allowed in the Polish tribe. I'm not a Pole.
When you say of the English, what are you referring to here?
So Russians, Uzbeks, Persians, Indians, I mean, non-English people.
I don't know. Is a Russian like a person just born in Russia, or is it? I don't know what that means when you say Russian English. Do you mean people with like citizenships to these countries, or do you mean?
Well, we would be dealing with people who are either here on visas, or if they have dual citizenship. My position is get rid of the dual citizenship.
Okay, so when you say foreigners, you're just referring to people that have dual citizenship.
That's the way you can deal with it. Yes, it would solve all the problems, and then most people would be happy.
Okay.
So we've got Lucy here. Lucy, I'm going to quickly read a few of the super chats because I've been ignoring everyone, and then I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself and who you are. Okay, people I have missed. Oh my goodness, a lot of people actually. Omid Pakbin, that feel when you immigrate to the West to escape Islam only to see your home is being infected with the same ideology. Yeah, not great. Lauren is going full boomer mode from Jeremy S. Yes, I am. Angel Martin says the initial protest was largely due to the officials and press giving no answers at the beginning. This was also a day or two after a massive Patriot rally in London on the 27th. Dashing Rogue, this all started in the 90s with the satanic scriptures. I don't know. Glenn, still appreciate your work. Thank you. Spencer says, Destiny thinks I'm evil. I think he's just wrong. We are not the same. By their fruits ye shall know them. What fruits does Destiny bear? Angel Martin, it would seem this attack on our children was in response to the massive London Patriot rally. Has a non-white culture ever developed constitutionalism, republicanism, or a rule of law? This was a question for Destiny, but he's got a few more here. Destiny, are you being paid by Act Blue? People want to know. Jacob Lowe.
Yes, they deposit $1,000 in my bank account every day. I say something good about Kamala Harris.
Okay, wonderful. This stream is a mess. Love you, Lauren, from Professor Suggun. Destiny is literally a paid actor from Jacob Lowe again. Hellraiser. Lauren and chat, in regard to migration crime, is there any data on the rate of crime from Rwandan immigrants before mass migration? That would be good to look at for sure. Brewmaster again, we should only accept immigration from nations that share our values and maybe work visas for college students from nations we want to influence. And then Isabella, I did not. Oh, This is about my last video, which I'm just not going to read, but thank you for the super chat. All right, Lucy, thank you for joining the stream. A little bit about yourself. Obviously, we've known each other for years, but the chat may not know.
Yeah, so I work for Tommy. I found myself falling into the Rebel News kind of cycle in
Wait, I'm sorry, just real quick.
2017.
So when you said you work for Tommy, who was that? Tommy Robinson?
Tommy Robinson, sorry. I worked sort of technically for the Rebel, but it was as his support staff with a couple of gay guys, George and Kaylin, who I'm sure Lauren knows. So we fell into that mainly on account of the terror attacks that were happening. I would say that's what brought me into the game. And then working for Tommy just sort of went from one problem to the other. Like, obviously he's got his issues and they started to come out. And then in 2018, we put on a big giant event called the Day for Freedom in Whitehall. And Tommy invited a YouTuber called Ali Dawa, who I'm sure you know. He was there with Mohammed Hijab, who I'm sure some people will recognize that name. And Tommy told me to go and tell them that they weren't invited anymore, and I had to go and tell them to leave. And they got set upon by football hooligans and drunk thugs, basically. I tried to protect them. And then Tommy blamed this on me. And then I've spent the past 6 years being harassed and stalked by his followers and being called a Judas and all this kind of stuff. And now I'm kind of back, finally got some restraining orders, and now feel a little bit less afraid of being on the internet. So I'm kind of here to just kind of push against some of his misinformation, just kind of to exist. Like, I'm not necessarily right or left. I'm just sort of here just trying to correct and just trying to see how things are going. So I think he's being a bit of a warlord, he's kind of warlord posting a lot.
Interesting. Destiny, you were saying she was going to be a hardcore conservative.
Oh, no, yeah, not the Tommy Robinson employee. Of course not. I was completely off. My bad.
Well, obviously,
can I ask,
you're a
Did
smart
you listen
guy,
to what she just said?
You'll know that I joined BLM first, right? You're a smart guy. You know that I come from BLM and feminist movements, right?
Yes, actually, because being smart means that you know every single random fact about every person on the planet. So I did indeed know that. Thank you for reminding the audience.
You seem to know about me before. Just saying.
People are never allowed to change their opinions. You're only one thing ever. That's a true fact.
I said that as well, I think. Yes, that was a good rebuttal for that thing I definitely just said.
No, I wanted to ask you, Lucy, did you hear the discussion that we had earlier about the role in disinformation in starting the first riot? Did you hear us talking about that?
I didn't hear the full bit, no, sorry.
So basically they were arguing about the role of disinformation in starting the first riot and whether or not people were led to believe or to blame Muslims for the stabbing in Southport, and whether Tommy Robinson's role in that. Do you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, of course he did. Riot? Yeah, of course he did. It was one of the first thing he tweeted, wasn't it? He was absolutely spreading misinformation, saying that it sounded like, and then this name that apparently translated to some phrase, him
Corridor,
and Katie
something,
Hopkins,
right?
Something like that. I'm going to my apartment. It was like Ali Al something or other. He was spreading that, and then Katie Hopkins, and then Lawrence Fox, and yeah, I would say that it was definitely like he fueled the flames. And then also it was his guy Danny Tomo that works for him. I think it was kind of my replacement, but he was going on Telegram saying, "Oh, whole city should be up in flames" and all this kind of stuff. So there's definitely like some fingers to point that way. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought there was a bit of a disagreement on it earlier.
But do you think that this has been one of the big disagreements, Lucy, is the idea that why are people outside of mosque when this was a Rwandan, second generation immigrant who wasn't Muslim? Why? And of course, Callum, Jack, and I are saying this is a culmination of many issues, including the grooming gangs, including the violence that has occurred, the knife crime, the carjackings, whatever, as well as cultural contentions at the moment, free speech issues. Would you agree that this wasn't just about the stabbing that occurred, but it's been a buildup over years and years of working class people being ignored and slandered?
Well, yeah, I don't think these people care anymore. I don't think they care if it was a Muslim or not. I think they're just going out in the street and they're taking their anger out on the people rather than the politicians, because if you think about it, you've had things like reform, you had the Brexit party, we had the Brexit vote, and then they wanted us to vote again. So we had to fight a second referendum. We've got all these groups that have been and gone. You've got some more hard right groups. You've got some more kind of liberalisty type groups. And the immigration figures, as far as I know, haven't really changed. So there's been a lot of, I think, false promises that have been made. And I think these are the people these are the people that just don't care anymore. And I don't think they feel like they have anything left to lose. I think that's the things that you're seeing on the street at the moment. I think it's very sad and very disgusting, but I just don't think they care anymore. And it is gross. And they are going around just punching black people, and it's horrible. But that's the stuff that we were trying to warn about for years could happen if these issues aren't addressed.
Stephen.
Everything Lucy's saying is correct.
Hi.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Oh, excellent.
Any thoughts from anyone else? Want to push back on that? Disagree? This is what inevitably happens when you ignore the wishes of the people, when the people say mass immigration is a crisis, when both left and right agree that immigration numbers are too high, like they do in Canada, and nothing has changed. Do you think that social chaos is the inevitable result, and you had to do something to prevent it beforehand?
It's just
you're half
the
right.
thing
I
is
don't think it's
no.
like an
Hold on,
inevitable
no.
result
There is no
because-
half right. No. The
You
issue
don't
is
know what I'm going
that
to say, motherfucker.
no, you shouldn't have given him any credit in the beginning. You can everything else about it right, okay? But no, the issue is that you have no like actual policy position or actual stance on any of this that anybody cares to actually articulate, because there might be some people that are genuinely frustrated with things in society. Immigration is an easy scapegoat. There might be some people that are genuinely frustrated with immigration because immigration has caused some problems, and there's a whole bunch of people who are just racist. But since nobody actually articulates any real type of policy, you just end up in a Brexit-like situation where people are like, oh yeah, we should Brexit, and then you spend the next like years arguing, well, fuck, I don't actually know what that looks like, or I don't know what we should actually fucking do. And it's the same thing with immigration. Like even the policy positions that have been articulated here, like I'm against mass migration. I don't know why you keep saying that. You're against all immigration. Just say that, like what was said earlier. Say I'm against all immigration. But people won't say that because it's probably not the actual position.
Against all immigration.
Well,
That's not
even when you say
mass
mass migration, what does mass migration mean?
So look at the
Mass-
graph. So you notice how the graph used to be that we had tens of thousands of people coming, some leaving, and it would hover up and down. And then in 1997, the things changed because we had an enlargement of the European Union. The numbers went up to the hundreds of thousands. People considered this horrific, which is why we ended up with the Brexit referendum. And then they tried to ignore the Brexit referendum. And then eventually Dominic Cummings and Boris Johnson got into power in 2019. And on their campaign promise was get Brexit done. They were very patriotic. It was all about patriotic things and getting immigration sorted out, etc., etc. They won a landslide, not just seats, but votes. And then when they got in, according to Dominic Cummings, he proposed the policy of, hey, let's have a points-based system. We will basically exterminate low-skilled labor coming in because that's not helping anyone. And we're going to try and steal the people who go to Silicon Valley. And
Wait, can I ask just a real quick question? For this graph,
I need to finish before you, okay. But I will let you, sorry. So they proposed that. According to Dominic Cummings, Boris said, screw that. They put the point-based system in place, and ever since, the immigration has now massively increased from what was considered unacceptable. That's what we mean by mass immigration, that the pre-1997 levels were perfectly acceptable. People were pretty much happy with it. It wasn't a discussion point that people had in politics. But since things have changed to hundreds of thousands to up to 1 million coming in, not net, but gross, that's unacceptable. And the fact that through that entire period we voted for lower immigration every election in terms of the manifesto claiming that that's what they would do of the party who won is horrific.
It looks
and
like
if you
most
can't
of
vote your way out of this.
Yeah, it looks like most of your migration happened. Like the huge spike was after Brexit.
Yeah, they betrayed us.
Why are they
That's
so
why people are
betrayed?
angry.
Wow, the Conservatives messed up and allowed mass migration. This is the first time I'm hearing about
When you say
this.
messed up and allowed mass migration, how do they allow it? What happened?
So they left the European Union in 2019 or 2020. Officially, it finally happened. But they changed the immigration rules, so we now have a point-based system. And you get points for very basic things, such as speaking a simple level of English or having a job that pays well below the average wage. So the ability of people to come here became massively easier, even though this is exactly the opposite of what Boris Johnson was going to implement when he spoke to voters, which is why everyone hates them.
Right. And there are policies that you could implement. The nation of Denmark is actually pretty restrictive on immigration, and they don't have right-wing party uprisings. They don't have riots or anything like that. You have refugees get put in third-party countries while they're being vetted. If your kids are going to school and they're from a foreign country, they have integration programs. And this is one of the reasons why, across the political spectrum, the immigration policies, even though they're criticized by the EU, in Denmark, they're basically, it's like a non-issue. So yeah, there are restrictions that you can implement, like actual tangible policies, and they prevent these right-wing like uprisings, these riots, and all of this stuff, things like Brexit, and that's what people want implemented. Like, you pretend there's no sensible policy on immigration. It exists. It's in Europe, and the people are happy with it. And it's so popular that it's not just the right-wing policies, but parties, it's the left-wing policies that buy into it, because they don't want people coming in and undercutting their union wages or whatever issue that they have that makes them historically against immigration. So yeah, there are definitely things that you can do to improve the situation and not have all this crazy fighting in the streets.
So when
I'd be careful with that last claim, with the idea that appeasing anti-immigrant like sentiment is what like makes the violence go away, because you mentioned like 1990s levels, and before that things were even lower. But again, it's not like race riots were a new thing just recently. We used to have this in the 70s with the National Front when immigration wasn't particularly high. It wasn't particularly high in the 80s when we had anti-immigration riots. Even if you look at the UK, I thought until last week, people used to brag about how the UK actually, compared to most European countries, had fairly positive attitudes towards immigration compared to the rest of Europe, right? The most anti-immigrant sentiment in Europe does not come from like France or places like London or whatever. It comes from places like Czechia or Hungary, places that have lower, like barely any immigration, or Finland. So, and that actually did demonstrate itself very well through our election, is that Reform UK, the big anti-immigrant party, they won their 5 seats, 4 of which were won in 94% white plus communities, which is way above the national average. Because this is when you talk about people not being listened to, the thing I get is that I agree that there's problems with abandonment and post-industrialization and working class communities being ignored and all this kind of stuff. That's very real. The problem is that it's not just that. It's that plus, and I'm sure Lucy's mentioned this, is that it's that plus demagogues and people who just lie to them habitually about and exaggerate the effects of immigration that drive them to feel like the effects are so much worse than they actually are. And then that's where you get the rioting coming from. It takes both. It takes a demagogue as well as people having real concerns, which is probably why people who vote for reform in these very, very white communities, they obviously didn't learn about immigration and its effects from their life experiences. They learned about it from the media.
Hang on. I just want to very quickly jump in and just add to end of Sean's point. It was very specifically the Labour Party, the ruling Labour Party in Denmark, who implemented all of these policies that he was talking about. It wasn't just implemented by the Conservatives there and then adapted by Labour. It was the Labour Party in Denmark who actually did all those things. And I will say, in a lot of the just coming up to your point, Learner Box, a lot of the people who moved to, for example, Clacton, were like the white working class guys who moved out of London because they've seen the problems of mass migration. Like, that's just one other reason you see a lot of those people in these communities escaped there from London because of it.
Yeah.
Which percentage of people from Clacton came from London? I think most people from Clacton were from Clacton.
Oh, obviously, most of them. There are certainly a chunk of them who have moved out of London.
Okay, so I'm just saying
there are a lot of people who are interviewed at the time.
If your hypothesis is that white people in the UK, the more immigration they see, the more anti-immigration they become in their communities, then why are these places with like 10, 15, 20% Muslim communities, why are they not the ones where the white people are coming out in arms and voting like majority for reform?
Well, a lot of them would vote for reform, but then obviously if there's more votes in the demographics, then obviously reform aren't going to win there.
Well, no, it's not more votes. You said that white people who are still the majority in a lot of these places that are maybe like 15, 20% Muslim, or immigrant, which is above the national average. These places are still majority white. Why are the white people in those places not the most incensed ones and the most politically active ones in their constituencies?
Now, bear in mind,
just say it's because there are more Muslims. That's why reform doesn't win. Because they're still the minority.
Yeah, no, obviously, but that's going to have some switch to it. Then you also have, Labour voters who are old Labour voters who would still vote Labour, who want to get the Tories out, but still be concerned about mass migration regardless. As I said, Labour promised to cut migration. So some people who perhaps were previous Labour voters moved the Tories in 2019, but then thought, I'm going to vote Labour again because at least Keir Starmer has promised to cut mass migration. Now, obviously,
Pal, you're not telling me that people voted Labour because they thought at least Keir Starmer will be harsher on immigration than the Conservatives. Keir Starmer wanted to scrap Rwanda on day one, and he did.
Certainly during the election.
No, he wasn't. He said he would scrap Rwanda. That was the first thing he says about immigration is he would scrap Rwanda.
Yes, because Rwanda wasn't working. He said he would cut net migration. That was a policy.
I've pinned it in the chat, so you can go and read it. The issue
Keir
with
Starmer
Rwanda,
pledges to slash sky-high migration numbers. Read my lips, I will bring immigration numbers down, as he vowed to control our borders. Do you think that sounds like a pro-migration message?
No, I think it sounds like someone who is not going to be believed by someone who is farther right than Labour on immigration. No fucking way. The guy said he wanted to scrap Rwanda because he said it was inhumane and a waste of money, meaning he was okay to let those asylum seekers stay in the UK. His alternative to
A
Rwanda
lot
is
of
those
people on the
asylum
right
seekers just
criticize
stay.
Rwanda.
They criticized it because they didn't just like abandon the European Court of Human Rights and throw them off anyway into those planes. Keir Starmer wanted to keep them in the country to keep claiming asylum. So Keir Starmer's message was actually, people talk about hotels, Keir Starmer's message was keep them in the hotels and keep processing them. You think a right-winger whose centre's position is anti-immigration would vote for that?
No. I'm not talking about not talking
Or even a
about
left-winger who's
right-winger.
anti-immigration.
I'm talking about a relatively ordinary person who's maybe not that fully connected into politics and sees Keir Starmer again pledging to cut migration, as every party has done since 1997.
why is the left-wing candidate even saying that?
Well, he said he wanted to. Sorry to
Hang on.
interject. He said that he wanted to spend money to target migration at the root. So he wanted to get to. Didn't he want to send a bunch of money to these countries where this is happening anyway and stop the human traffickers and kind of deal with it so that they're not dealing with it in the hotels? You're dealing with it at the source. That was his argument. I don't know if it's
he
true.
wanted to target the smugglers, but as far as
but, I mean,
asylum
that's the
seekers who
point.
come here, he wants to process them,
But his still entire message is reduce migration.
No one in this country can run on the platform of if things are going well with migration and we should increase it. That is not the position of anyone. Even the left-wing candidate knows he has to go out and say, yeah, this is crazy, we need to lower the numbers.